Why are we doing this? Why are you doing it? Why did you decide to make a podcast about money with me?
Lots of people are struggling, and I struggled. I struggled in my 20s. I didn't understand money. I didn't have a father to teach me about pragmatic thinking and problem solving within money.
Mm.
And money is such an abstract concept that the more you learn, the more that you think you know, the more you realize you don't know. And Skill Carer has more than a handful of support workers. And obviously, because it's such a small organization, I know how much people are making and I know how much people are struggling. And then you look at a president of a country, the free world, launch a meme coin
Mm.
that is designed to extract money from people's pockets. And that sickens me. That actual fact was disgusting and made me feel sick in the moment, knowing exactly what was going to happen. It was going to bounce up, it was going to go to an extravagant figure, and then those people who
The
chased it all the
whales.
way up
Yeah.
were going to get rug pulled and they were
Mm.
going to have all their money gone. And it's financial nihilism. People just don't care and they're giving up
What,
because it's too hard.
have you heard of the Huck Tour girl?
Yeah, she launched a coin.
Yeah, she went to jail because she launched this coin, and because she had so much notoriety, uh, heaps of people bought into it because expecting it to skyrocket. And she was obviously like an 80% stakeholder in
Mm.
this thing, sold it when it reached a certain level. Everyone lost all their money that they put into it. She made like $24 million, but now she's going to jail because of it.
But the sad thing is, she didn't know that was going to happen.
Mm.
She got coerced into it by other people who they are just feeding into this as this crypto genre, this new mechanism of money that's supposedly going to make people rich or going to be this innovation. It's not an innovation.
Mm.
There's a couple of practicalities towards that environment that are real, like stable coins, and they're for people in Argentina, Brazil, who don't have access to money that doesn't inflate away to nothing. And so they would rather store their money in the American dollar, which still inflates away to nothing, than the Argentinian peso. And this Hoptua girl, she was as much of a victim. She didn't know that that was going to happen, that people were going to get rugged.
Mm.
She was just feeding into the ecosystem that already exists. There's tens of thousands of meme coins.
Yeah.
There's fart coin, there's butt coin.
I bought Shiba Inu when it was
I
like
bought it.
really cheap, and I was telling people to buy it too. I was like, man, this thing's gone up like 300% since I bought it. Oh my goodness. And
I bought
then
it.
what happened? Boom, gone.
I bought Ethereum. I bought Shibu. It's betting. It's punting. It's punting on an idea. It's punting. It's not even an idea. It's just punting on momentum.
Mm. Well, come back to the whole idea of money and like why we're talking about this. Do you think like we're existing in a society that is setting people up to fail financially?
Yeah, and whether it's we exist in a society that's been cultivated and changes around us.
Mm.
It's some. I was talking to Michaela the other day, and we were talking about values, and values have changed over generations,
Mm.
and people haven't chosen for this to happen, but the incentives create the change. If you show me the incentive, I will show you the outcome.
What do you think the leading incentive is within society then that is causing the spending habits of the modern person?
The incentive is to survive, and the
Mm.
incentive that the where we are now as a society is that young people and people in their 30s have given up on owning a house ever.
Completely. Yeah.
You're a young person.
Yeah. I,
How do you feel about it?
I've said that I'm not going to get a mortgage for a house. I don't want to be in debt for a house. If I can afford to buy a house, I want to buy a house outright.
Mm.
Like I've spoken to my partner Jess about this, and like she's pretty accepting of the fact that it's like I don't want to buy a house until I'm 35, 40, like around that age, because I don't. I'm a big believer that with the way the world's set up right now, you don't know enough as a 18, 20, 25, 26, even 30-year-old about where you would like to live or where you want to live to make the
Mm.
commitment of being like, I'm going to get a mortgage here.
Yeah, yeah.
And then what happens when every single person that I've, not every single person, that's too like broad, but a majority of people that I've met and spoken to about having mortgages young, and by young, I mean anywhere from 20 to 35, because I still think like, 35 is relatively young.
Mm.
Um, as a
What
20,
about 39? No longer young.
completely
Yeah.
fossilized. I think
Game over.
I feel like for a lot of people, that's when, especially like men, because obviously we don't have the biological time clock as far as like children is concerned in the same capacity to women. I feel like men a lot of the time we take longer to develop cognitively, and then by the time that we're in our mid to late 30s, we have enough data to make informed decisions. I think before that, you haven't done enough testing and experimenting to make a well thought through decision, or it's more challenging to do so when you're young because you just haven't lived enough. As like you're going to make decisions as a like kid, like I bought the car. I went $28,000 in debt when I was making $63,500 a year at managing a Rip Curl store
Mm.
that like I was already falling out of love with, and I gave myself the golden handcuffs.
Mm.
And it's similar to mortgages as well. It limits people being able to truly give to the world, which is such a shame because you see people get tied up in jobs, tied up in commitments, and it stops them being like going to do anything that actually excites them. And I believe most people, when they're doing things that are they're excited about and they're passionate about, that's where they truly are able to give to the world. You wouldn't have been able to start skilled care in the sense that you did, or be able to have a what is this Monday afternoon to just sit down and record a podcast. You wouldn't be able to have that ability if you were, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, struggling to pay for it.
And yet, yeah, that's right. That's right. And yet, I am in that place financially,
Mm,
hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. And your decision to put off buying a house because it isn't as simple as the idea that probably people had 40, 50 years ago that you buy a house and then, oh, look, worst case scenario, we just sell it and we move.
mm.
Because now
It's
you've
not
got a
that simple.
stamp duty that is attached to that. If I decide to move from here, I'm paying $60,000, $70,000 stamp duty to the government as a tax for the privilege of moving where I live.
Yeah.
And then I've got to pay a real estate agent $20,000 to $30,000 for them to get buyers who are already going to line up anyway.
Hmm.
And everyone's just taking their piece along the way.
Yeah.
And then the bank takes their, little fees out along the way too.
Mm. So what are your thoughts then on my frame of thinking? Because one of the reasons like why I like decided to do this podcast, as the original question was because I actually wanted to pick your brain, and hopefully if people like follow along with this, they'll see my ethos change on money over time, over talking to you and just discussing this topic. What are your thoughts on my approach to not buying a property until I'm in my later 40s and actually being somewhat okay with never truly quote unquote owning
Mm,
a property?
mm,
Like I'm all right with that because I would rather have the freedom financially and flexibility to say I want to go take my kids and live over in Spain
mm.
rather than being shackled to one spot.
You will own nothing and be happy.
Yeah,
That's been forethought into what the future will look like.
but that's BlackRock, right? Like that's what Vanguard and like all those big three companies, their whole philosophy that they're pushing forward is like because I don't know if people know this, but like BlackRock, the company is buying property not only in America but also throughout a lot of Australia and pricing people out of the market.
It's all those reasons,
Yeah,
and all the reasons why you don't want a house now, all those reasons why people invest in Trump coin
yeah,
is because the underlying system of money is fundamentally broken.
mm,
When you build a house and you lay the concrete and it is wonky,
mm.
when the builder comes to put his frame on that and it doesn't align and it shakes and it's all out of skew,
Ain't gonna work.
that's not going to work. What about when you try to build that house with a ruler that is constantly changing
Mm,
how long a meter is? Because that's the thing in which we use to value our time and energy. Money is, in an abstracted form, our time and energy.
Yeah.
You sacrifice it to earn an income, whatever it is you're doing. If you're running a business, you're doing it a particular way and you work for free because you know that you're going to get a return on that investment. It's a sacrifice of your time and you might get paid back later in the future. Or if you're working at McDonald's or Rip Curl or for Skilled Carer,
Mm.
you know that hours that you sacrifice, you're going to get paid for those exact hours. And you choose to do that because, as much as people don't like to admit it, and I think you have a very, you're probably far more of the spectrum of money up this end, and I'm far more up this end.
Mm.
We're not on the ends, but we're polarized apart from each other in how we view money. I know that in order to be my best self, I have to have money to be able to do that. If I
Agreed.
didn't have financial security, I couldn't have started Skilled Carer, given tens and tens of people opportunity for meaningful work and direction in their life, and participants great experiences and enhanced independence. So back to your question.
No, I like this. I like this. This
Back
is
to your
good.
question. I think we should constantly be changing our minds.
Mm.
If you're of the viewpoint, and this is why I have such a generational barrier with my ability to articulate my thoughts and have them received well by people of another generation, and I probably fit right in the middle because I'm about 40. So people in their 60s don't understand me. People in their 20s don't understand me.
Mm.
And the reason that those generations, we've all grown up in different eras and epochs of money
Mm.
and what we think is happening in the economy. So anyone who's 60, if they bought a house, it went up
Yeah.
over 50 years. And if they just bought the house and kept it, they're millionaires.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone of my, I was very late to the game in understanding money and purchasing my first home. Didn't do that till I was 30,
Mm.
which is late. I had my youngest brother had a house at 21, so he
Yeah.
was younger than me, and he'd had a house for years.
Mm.
And because of my understanding of money, I've been able to um, grow that understanding and grow my wealth because of my obsessive need to understand how these things work.
Mm.
I still haven't answered your
No,
question.
no, this is good. This is good. This is why we're here. We're
Yeah.
here to figure out why
To
we're doing
listen
this
to me go
podcast in the
round and round
first
in
place.
circles and forget what I'm talking about. um, so I think it's right in this generation to view a house. And what I'm going to do is when we edit this, I'm going to put some graphs up.
Yeah.
And one of the graphs that I'm going to put up in this section is about the
Are you going to put it like right here
yeah.
or right
You
here?
can hold it. Yeah. Yeah. I won't be putting it here. The graph shows the median home price and the price to wage ratio.
Is this the whole thing where it used to be a house would cost something like 5 or 7 years of
Yeah,
someone's,
it was
right?
four to five.
Yeah, and most people were paying off their houses within like 7 to 8 years.
Interest rates were 20%, and that's what you'll hear from people of that generation. Yeah. But interest rates were 20%.
Yeah,
Okay, but all you had to do was survive, and that $20,000 house that you bought is now worth $1 million
yeah.
because that is why debt is value from the future brought forward.
Mm.
And the only way the system continues to perpetuate is because we have to expand the system. Otherwise, how do we eat that debt? How do we get that debt down? Because we're not, yes, cool, we have AI, we have productivity, but how are we actually reducing? How are we paying off the debt? The truth is, we're never paying off the debt. So when you look at Victoria's debt or Australia's debt, or of $1.5 trillion in Australia, which is actually low in comparison to many other countries.
Yeah,
Victoria's debt is high because we had the longest lockdowns. America's debt is $36.5 trillion as of this day.
which is insane. And it's only ever been going up.
It's only ever been going up, and it's skyrocketed. All the
Maybe
debt
World
around
War
the world,
maybe World War Two was a bit different, post World War Two and
yeah,
post those wars.
very different because it was backed by gold and backed by hard currency.
Yeah.
Now we're under a system of, and this is where I start to lose people, MMT, modern monetary theory, where the governments just manipulate and change the interest rates based on a farcical amount of data that doesn't make sense. The RBA, the Reserve Bank of Australia, that determine the interest rate, the cost of money. How much does it cost to borrow money? What am I going to pay back for it? If it's 1%, if it's 0.1%, I will have all the money you will lend me
Mm.
because all I have to do is outperform that 1%, that 0.1%, and I win. And that's what Apple did. They're closest to the money printer. They're getting the opportunity to borrow money for nothing. And you might think it's irrelevant. It is extremely relevant to understanding money.
Mm.
Because if you have a car debt, your interest rate is going to be 12 to 15%
It's 12.5.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it might go down, but it's not going to 5, it's not going to 7. And if it does, if your interest rate of your car goes to 5, the world's in a really bad place.
Yeah.
Because everyone's going to borrow. That means to borrow a house, which is it's a stronger asset that you're backing your loan to, those interest rates are going to be lower. And because the interest rates are lower, I can now borrow more. And now that money has to go somewhere.
Mm.
It goes into assets. Inflation, yeah. I'm getting way tangible.
No, no, no.
So I don't want to go too much into inflation because that's an entire episode of inflation. But back on the money thing, back on the house.
I hope leave this in here because like what Ryan's talking about right now for those who are listening is just how complicated the money system is, which is one of the reasons why we wanted to make this podcast
Mm.
because money's not really talked about all that much. It is
Yeah.
somewhat of a taboo subject. Most people don't want to dive into how do these systems actually work? Where is the money coming from? And most things that are thrown at us. Think about the majority of topics surrounding money. Most of it is rich people are evil and they're destroying the world, and I don't have enough of it. Like, those are the two main topics most people talk about. So, the topic of money is surrounded by fear. And the way that we can help eliminate that with these conversations that we're having is to give clarity to it. So, for those that are listening right now, everything Ryan just said will make sense. It's hard for me to figure it all out right now, too. It will make sense, and this is one of the reasons why we're doing this is to break these complex topics down so that they don't have to be so scary, and you can have like an interesting conversation about money. Like money is actually really interesting, like the foundations of money, where money came from, why we created it in the first place, how did we get here, where are we going? Like these are fun topics to dig into, and there's a lot of meat there. Um, but like let's just say someone's listening to this and they want to learn, they want to begin learning about money. They want to begin learning about their finances and have a um, better relationship with money as well. Where would you recommend that they start? Where would you recommend that I start, for
It
example?
just the inquisitive nature of asking questions. Before I answer that one though, let me finish the last part. The 4 to 5 times income, household income, when you only had a male working, the father would work and the mother
Single
would
income
generally,
household.
yeah, the mother would generally be looking after the kids.
Yeah.
That provided better outcomes for children because their emotional and social needs were met.
Yeah.
It's now 10 times income for the cost of the house, and you've got taxes in there. That's why this paradigm now, yeah, I constantly think about selling the house and renting.
Yeah.
The reason I don't is because I know the landlord can, I don't want to be moving every 12 months if I'm kicked out and the landlord's doing something different. So I need that security. I will pay for that security to do that. Otherwise, I wouldn't own a property.
Mm.
I would rent and I would be just deal with it.
Think of the age that you're at as well, though. Like you're at 40
If I
now.
had kids, it'd be a totally different thing. They would need that security for schools, for sports, for just growing up in a nomad household has its emotional effects later down the track. Where would I start with money?
Yeah.
What was that the question? Or was it something else?
Like where could the common day-to-day person start
Oh, that's right.
learning? Like, what would be beneficial for them to understand?
I would start. You need to start questioning, even if you don't care about money or think that you don't care about money. Start questioning, what the hell is money? What is it? Because what it's supposed to be is a store of value, questionable, a unit of account, and a medium of exchange.
Yeah.
It was created thousands of years ago so that people didn't have to, and they didn't use fiat notes that we have.
Mm.
They didn't even use gold. They used shells. They used
Yeah, true.
uh, rune stones.
Yeah.
They used beads
Mm.
in Africa. And it was just so that we didn't have to exchange. If you are the apple farmer and I am the dairy farmer,
Yeah.
and you want
A cow. Oh,
you want a
give me
cow.
a cow.
Now there wasn't dairy farmers around back then, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get the point. I get the
you
point.
want the cow.
You're a shepherd.
If you're going to give me up 1,000 apples, we're going to have to constantly decide based on supply and demand,
Mm.
what is the aggregate amount of apples that are worth this cow today.
Yeah.
And because it was constantly changing, and if I want those 1,000 apples, well, I can't then exchange them for something else because they will spoil.
Mm.
So that's why you want a money that doesn't decay.
Yeah.
Now, when I bring up the graph of the US dollar and the Australian dollar over 100 years, you tell me if that's a store of value, and that's supposed to be the fundamental thing of money.
What way is it trending? Is it trending down or trending
It,
up?
it trends to zero.
Yeah, right.
It goes from 100%, so the value of $1, what it would purchase you 100 years ago, all the way down, and it's lost 99% of its value over 100 years, and it will continue to lose value.
Well, I trip out when I talk to my grandma and I hear that a glass of like a jar of milk, like a liter of milk used to be 10 cents
Mm.
or like 15 cents. Like now it's $4.80 or $5 or whatever it's costing. So what does happen or what do you theorize happens when the dollar goes to zero? Like when we do get all the way down and it does trend all the way to zero, do you foresee that we just keep going on the way that we are going on, or do you see a radical shift
Money has gone to zero in
coming?
different jurisdictions around the world. The fact is, we are very privileged and lucky to live in a society like Australia, where we have access, or America,
Yeah,
where we have access to all the luxuries and privileges of a first world country that we do. But the majority of people around the world, or maybe it's 50%, um, don't have access to that.
yeah,
They don't have access to a currency that I'm reading. It's not there. I'm reading When Money Dies, which is about the Weimar Republic after World War One, Germany, and what was happening in their political environment. And it's not just reading a few facts. Oh, here's what happened. It's life stories, and minute by minute, month by month, how that money inflated away, and what it was. And it was a very specific example, because Germany had lost the war, that the money inflated away to zero and it died, and they stopped using the currency. The same thing happened
right.
with uh, the Argentinian peso. The same thing happened in Mexico. They all now use, and lots of jurisdictions around the world. Um, the fail of every empire has been because of a government's manipulation and capture of the money. When they print more money and create more money, in the Roman Empire,
Lacing it with silver, lacing the gold with silver. Yeah,
well, that would be a privilege now. Imagine if they laced our silver coins with silver.
yeah,
People would hoard the silver, right?
exactly.
It's called Gresham's law. The bad money drives out good. I'm going to keep the good stuff,
Mm,
and I'm going to get rid of the crap stuff. So they would clip
right.
coin clipping in the Roman Empire, so the government would take those coins in, clip them, make them smaller, print more currency. They've just created money from nothing.
Yeah.
And then the people would realize that was happening. So that created the uprising, and that was the catalyst for the fall of the Roman Empire. So
Mm.
money does go to zero, and revolutions happen, or it won't. I don't think that happens. If a revolution happens and the Australian government is thrown out, it's pretty scary for
Yeah.
that to happen. So that won't happen. The governments around the world, and the Fabian economists. There's a word for people to look up. What is a Fabian economist? What is Fabian economics?
Fun facts of Ryan. What's a Fabian economist?
Look it up. It's too deep. But it's a group of people who are maliciously controlling the world economic movements,
Right.
and they're institutionalizing what's happened to our money.
Is this like getting into like Illuminati type territory?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
And so that's when the conspiracy theory or whatever, like you're talking shit. Okay, but check out the graphs. Like who's the one that's is it crazier to be a conspiracy theorist or
Mm,
is it crazier to store your money in a dollar that goes to zero?
yeah, yeah,
I'd rather be crazy.
yeah. I hear you. Well, it's the best description I've heard for the belief, if you would, that people with an incredible amount of money and wealth begin manipulating society is when you have all the money in the world, what game do you play? You play the power game because now the people who have trillions and trillions of dollars, they didn't get there by accident. When I say trillions and trillions, I mean like billions and billions, but there are probably trillionaires out there yet.
There's a trillionaire.
Yeah,
I think Elon Musk might have been a trillionaire at one point, but I don't think he is anymore.
yeah. But there would be trillionaires out there anyway. Like the people,
Satoshi Nakamoto could be he's about to pass.
Satoshi Nakamoto.
He's about to pass Warren Buffett as the
Wow.
richest person in the world.
Is he Japanese? Like, am I right in
It's
assuming
an
that?
enigma.
Yeah. Wow. Just
Mm,
floats around, huh?
yeah,
Yeah. Well,
he may or may not exist. He may or may not be alive.
oh, that's wild. Yeah. See, this is why I wanted to talk to Ryan because he knows this stuff about about money
I thought
and
it
how
was
it bleeds.
Satoshi. Satoshi is God.
um. Okay. Well, tinfoil hats off for a moment, and like bringing it back. Let's get into just a little bit, just a little like sprinkling of it. People's day to day understanding of money. Like, why do you think so many people of my generation are struggling to use money well? Like, why are people drowning in debt? What has led to people drowning in the debt that they are?
It's incentives. So you're incentivized to survive.
Yeah.
It is such a broad topic in that we're living in this instantly gratifying dopamine serotonin attached world where we need to keep up with the Joneses. And every time I distract myself from my real life and go into the metaverse,
Mm.
I'm met with all these people living these amazing lives, having these amazing
They're
holidays.
all shredded, rich,
And
dating
they're
beautiful
shredded
people.
and
Yeah.
they're not taking steroids. No
Not at
way. They
all.
wouldn't do that.
So clean, baby.
Yeah. Gains, natty, all natty. And they're pumped up with not all of them, but this is the when you browse enough and you see this, you're made to think that my value is now my online presence. So how we value ourselves and our identity, especially in your early 20s,
Mm.
I can only speak personally, but I didn't understand what my strengths were, who I was, and what I did. I knew I was a hustler,
Mm.
and that was it. I
Yeah.
knew I'd work hard and I'd outwork people, and that's what I did on the basketball court, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then I introduced that into a business mindset and started understanding money. So what's happened with people is that they're incentivized to take on debt to, I bought the $23,000 Jeep 10, 12 years ago to impress a girl that I'm no longer with
Mm.
because I thought that that's what I needed to do to get a girlfriend at
Yep.
27,
Yep.
which was older than you are now.
Mm.
And so,
I was in the same boat at 22. It wasn't for a girl. It
so
was.
you're 5 years ahead of me.
I just made that mistake 5 years earlier.
Yeah.
And I think, just to piggyback off that, I think it is because so many of us tie our worth to what we have, not what we're giving to society, which is what actually creates your net worth.
And yet the paradox is that we're taught from school, from institutions, from all the books that we read about what's really important in the world, and monkism and Buddhism and meditation, and that is what a lot of young people are actually trending towards because
Yeah.
it's like there's an answer for happiness there, and we're taught to think what money isn't important, it's your impact on the world,
Mm.
and yet we're letting other people define and describe for us what money is and how it works, and we're just victims of that without figuring it out. this is why I care about it. I'm deeply passionate about it. I read about it every single day. I've put thousands of hours into learning about it because I'm deeply passionate about it, how it's affecting people and how it affects me and why did I turn out the way I turned out?
Mm.
And yeah, what else do you think about why do you think it is?
That's so great. Everything you just got into there, man. That's your passion shining through. This is why I wanted you to do something surrounding money because there is a genuine care surrounding it. Um, I think it's just so easy to get that quick fix of dopamine from a pay as you go system,
Mm,
from your afterpays or your whatever it is. It's so easy to get into debt and do the even like a TAFE course or a uni course or a college course. It's so easy to just get $50,000, $100,000 in debt, and people are constantly thinking, I will buy myself into, you were talking beforehand about money's not important, but people will yet try to buy themselves into happiness,
mm.
thinking that that's what's going to bring them joy or bring them some sense of peace.
This nice car will make me feel good. I'll
Exactly.
feel a self-worth. I don't know what's happening in my subconscious, but
Yeah.
for some reason I feel the need to impress others and to feel good about myself. So I'll make this purchase. I'll pay for it later. That's not a problem.
Mm,
But now I feel good. And then that fades. What's the next thing?
exactly.
These systems of marketing, and now it's not like turning on the TV and you have an advertisement selling you something. Now it's you've got marketing at you
Everywhere.
everywhere on your phone, constantly binging away with the
Uh,
notifications, and then they text you and then they email you, and then you hear them on the radio. It's like, leave me alone. And these are designed by
Silicon Valley geniuses.
and
Yeah.
psychologists who understand that a loot box, if we just keep this in a video game just out of reach where you can compete in NBA 2K My Team if you've got the Wembanyama card that costs a million V-Bucks.
Yeah. I spent so much money on 2K16. I ain't gonna lie, bro.
Did
I'm
you?
so bad. It's 16-year-old.
Uh, I love my team, and it was addictive. During COVID, I was waking up at 2 a.m. check my options.
That's
Oh, I made
wild.
4,000 my team dollars on a Ben Wallace card.
Matt.
Let's buy 10 of them.
Well,
Oh, they all lost money. They all lost value. They inflated away like the dollar.
mm,
Bummer. Who'd
well,
have thunk it? Who'd have thunk that it was manipulated and captured?
crazy that.
That somebody else was trying to make money off me, and that I was the victim. And the crazy thing is, we all know that we're the victim. We all know that we're
We're
the
getting played.
patsy at the table, and we
Yeah.
still make those decisions. I make them every day. I got scammed like 2 months ago. It was February. I got scammed by an online holiday place, cold called $1,000 to get tokens, and they had a website, and all the accommodation was there. And I don't know why I felt
They're so
to believe
legit.
it. It looked legit.
Yeah.
It was legit. And then I went to book a holiday maybe 2 weeks ago, and I saw it playing out, and they wanted my BSB and account number. I was like, this is very strange.
Mm,
And the more I looked into them, there was no reviews. So they've somehow taken all their reviews down. And I was like, it's just not worth it. I am 99% sure this is a scam.
yeah.
I report them to ACCC, which is Consumer Affairs. I reported them to ScamWatch. But I think they'll actually get under the radar and they'll continue as a business because they're just sorting it out so sneakily. They're that good at it
Hmm.
that there's not even a phone number that you can call them. They don't respond to their emails. That it's they're that good at it now that they've got you.
So this is where people are losing all of their money. Not
Yeah.
not
You're
necessarily.
not stupid for being tricked. Like
No.
I get tricked. I get tricked all the time.
I think you just need to be
As I'm a trusting person, and I'm gullible. I'm very gullible. We're all gullible.
yeah. You just need to be humble enough to admit that you can be fooled.
Yeah.
Like that the pretty car can fool you, the pretty girl can fool you, the spending money this way can fool you. And I think if a lot of people, myself included, if I had done this earlier, had accepted that they are ignorant in the sense of money, then they would be able to begin climbing out of the hole that they've put themselves in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you have to. It's called, and this is a view on some investments that I'm very interested in. Is that it's an it's an EQ test, not an IQ test. It's an emotional equivalency test.
Mm,
Are you smart enough emotionally to say, you know what? I don't know. I'm going to actually question my own thoughts and my own beliefs, and I'm going to try to rethink my own ideas because those who vastly underestimate the complexity of the world fail to understand how challenging it is.
Mm. It is hard.
Mm.
Yeah, it is hard again.
And how much the world changes over time.
This,
It's constantly changing.
this is why we're doing the human currency.
Mm.
Yeah, because it's hard. And it is complicated and it is confusing. And it's all right to admit that. Yeah. So again, like coming back to that question of like, how do you uncomplicate money? What do you think, if you were to boil it down in like its simplest form, how could someone begin changing their view of money to benefit them rather than silently destroy them?
They have to rethink what they've been taught and what they've learnt. They have to unlearn, and it's a little bit to do with habits, and it's a little bit to do with just giving us stuff. You're not going to figure it out in a week. You're
Mm,
not going to figure it out in a year. It is going to take you a decade to figure it out to the point of my understanding, but that's all right. Even if, fall short, no worries. Don't read a book about money. That's fine. You'll still learn a bunch.
mm,
Um, but you have to be humble enough to admit if you genuinely care, I have to figure this thing out. And what I'm doing or what I don't understand will not just putting my head in the sand isn't going to make my life better. Because unfortunately, the broken money is it destroys people's lives. You know what the number one divorce reason is?
money.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it,
That's
right?
enough. Like that destroys relationships. The
Mm,
most intimate relationship that you can create with another person and commit your life to them, and money destroys it. It tears it apart. That's the evils of money,
mm,
not the black rocks. They might be evil too, but they're not. But it's the money. Like they didn't create the money. They're running a business and it's turned into whatever it's turned into, and they're actually providing wealth to people. They hold assets on behalf of others
mm.
to grow and store their value over time. And that's the main reason why house prices have gone up because people have stored their money in a house because you can't store it in the bank, you can't store it in cash,
Mm.
you can't store it in a car. Those things go down over time.
They're not assets.
They're not
They're
assets.
depreciating liabilities. Yeah, that's what they're
Yes.
called, liabilities.
Money is an asset,
Yeah.
but it's because it's fading over time. It's like holding a melting ice cube.
Mm.
And in I think it's Tunisia, um, the 10 years ago, which is pretty recent. But they would the people there would earn money, and they would immediately exchange that money for bricks and start building the house. So all
Right.
throughout Tunisia is half built houses, and
Mm.
people you drive through, you're like, what? Why? And yet it's because they need to store their money in something that's going to retain value. So they buy the brick that day. And it's the
Right.
same thing as the Weimar Republic. They would one day an egg would be 6 marks, the next day it will be 9 marks.
Mm.
The day after that, 12 marks. Literally days where in the morning the bakery would sell um, a loaf of rye bread for 34 marks.
Mm.
In the afternoon, it had changed price. It was now 42 marks.
Right. Why is that happening though? Why is that drastic flip happening?
There's no trust in the money. Supply and demand are the basic fundamentals of an economic system. When there's not enough houses, the house prices go up.
Mm.
Housing's a different, it's a very different thing. You can't relate everything to housing. But supply and demand through COVID, toilet paper, what did people do?
Hoarded
That's
toilet paper. That's a great example.
they hoard it, and egg prices now they're
It doesn't.
$12 a dozen, and they used to be, 5, 6, right? Because the demand is higher. The same reason in avocado season, mango season.
Mm.
You want to have a mango out of mango season. You might be able to get one. It probably costs you $12,
Yeah.
but you can get it
Mm.
if you've got the means to pay for it.
Mm. Pineapples used to be a real show of wealth back in the London era.
Did they?
Yeah. So like it would be a big deal. They wouldn't eat it. They would just have it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just put it on the dining room table,
Yeah.
like a piece of art, like a
Literally,
Picasso.
literally like on a candlestick holder. They'd just be like, "Here's my pineapple. I am demand. I got this from the Caribbean because it was so hard to transport it over." Jake Galley.
Jack.
Jack,
Yeah.
not Jake. My bad, Jack. Um, he said, I'd like to learn about new ways I can invest my money and make good returns. I currently use Raise and Spaceship. So, what are some good ways that he can invest his
So
money?
Raise is that's quite a clever app innovation, whatever. It's when you make a payment, if it's $4.75, it will round up to $5. It will cost you $5 and 25 cents will go to your Raise account. It's a sneaky way of like
Investing without
making
noticing
you
it.
save money, and then you invest that into different ETFs, which are big groups of stocks that are a safe investment,
Yeah.
and that over time have, as a cohort, as a whole, indexes in particular, indexes of the whole of the stock market, they have done better than putting your money in a bank.
Mm.
So that's Raise. Spaceship, I actually started using Spaceship about 4 or 5 years ago. Probably less than that, 3 years ago. And the fees attached to Spaceship were so large as a percentage of the money invested, it
Mm.
wasn't worth doing it anymore. And I pulled out, I left it.
Right.
Because if you're doing investing $100 and it's costing you $2 or $5, or there's charging you an account fee, there's no point if they're charging a percentage, if it's 2%, 5%, because the things that you're investing in within ETFs and indexes on average only make about 10% per year. So if 5% of that is a fee,
Mm.
don't do it.
Mm. So, what are the sources that you're using then to invest? Like, what were the
So
sites or websites or?
yeah, look, any of a stock exchanging fund like Superhero is the one that I use, and that has pretty cheap brokerage, $2 for
Yeah.
trade. Um, but the problem with Superhero is if they go bankrupt, or something happens, or they do something dodgy, you don't actually hold the stocks that are invested in that exchange,
Right.
because they are holding it in custody for you,
Mm.
as opposed to a chess sponsored brokerage like ComSec, and that's the most popular one, which is part of the reason why Commonwealth Bank is so extremely priced on the stock market,
Mm.
is because one, they're the biggest bank and they do the most home loans, and then two, they have the market share of investment for chess sponsorships. So if Bank go bust, they won't. They're the
Mm.
biggest bank in Australia. If Commonwealth Bank goes bust, we're all stuffed.
Yeah.
So, but the government will bail out if something happens. But if they did, I still own my shares because they're attached to my name,
Mm.
not Commonwealth Bank's name.
Right.
So that's two ways to invest in stocks. Now, it depends what you're investing in. But if you're putting your money in a savings account, a term account, yes, you might get paid 5% interest on that money. However, your money in purchasing power to buy assets is inflating away at least 10%, and it depends on what you want to buy
Yeah.
per year. So you can get for your 5% per year. You're losing 5%. You're actually going backwards 5%, even though you make 5% a year.
Mm.
Is that confusing?
I think it would be.
I hope so, because that's what most people are confused by that.
So it is confusing. I actually had a conversation with the gent who owns the gym that I train at this morning. I told him that we were doing this podcast, and we spoke about. And here's an interesting fact I didn't know about banks. This gent had a lot of his money invested in like S&P 500 stocks,
Hmm.
and like mutual fund indexes and everything like that. And the bank made him sell those stocks to put more money down on the house because they were convinced that if
He
he
was overexposed to stocks.
yeah, he was overexposed to stocks and that he might not pay for this house because he's putting all his money into this other thing, right? But
Absolutely ridiculous.
so ridiculous. But again, financial abuse is something that everyone can fall prey to. What I found really interesting though was that did you say it was an average of 10% returns on index funds? Is that what you
Yep.
mentioned beforehand? So the mortgage repayment that he's on right now is 6.5%,
Hmm.
but then the uh, index fund is 10%. So
Hmm.
there's a 3.5% difference there. So if he, I think you said this the other day, if he just made minimum payments on his house and put all the rest of his money into these index funds,
Mm.
it would outgrow the debt quite dramatically
Hmm.
because of the way that it's set up. People don't get that.
It's an extremely abstract concept. Smart people don't get that. Money managers don't get that.
Mm,
People who, like a fund manager that is supposed to invest on behalf of people, don't understand the inflation of the money supply is the factor that is bankrupting everybody.
mm. So,
It's disgusting that they would say he's proven that he's a great saver. He's been putting money into a safe investment. Not only that, it's diversified. So if property goes down and the stock market goes up, he's safe.
yeah,
If the stock market goes down and property goes up, he's safe.
it's a shame.
It's not like he's putting his money into sports bet.
Hmm.
He's putting it into a safe investment. In saying that, the multiples on the S&P 500 and then this is getting down in the weeds. So if you're lost,
Sorry, Jack.
sorry, Jack. The Magnificent Seven, which is Meta and Facebook, Amazon, Nvidia,
Tesla in there?
they may just be, but they've been falling out of it.
Yeah.
Google, which is Alphabet. These companies make up the majority of the gains within an index, within the S&P 500. So they're on extravagant multiples at the moment,
Mm,
which means, again, getting into the weeds, but your multiples are if a company earns $100 and the company costs to buy the whole thing $1,000, it's on a 10-to-1
mm,
price to earnings ratio.
right.
If it's worth $5,000, it's on a 50-to-1 price to earnings ratio. That means it's going to plug away, make its $100 each year that you own.
Mm,
It's going to take 50 years to get your investment back.
wow.
That's not something that you should be investing in unless it has extravagant growth attached to it. And the problem that these multiples are blown out so high is because it's TINA. There is no alternative. The money has to go from areas around the world, sovereign wealth funds,
Mm,
in retirement accounts. We're forced to put our money into a retirement account, into our superannuation, and all other jurisdictions around the world. Just keep plowing into these S&P, plowing into the biggest companies
mm,
that they're overblown. So much so to Warren Buffett, who is a value investor, it means he used to invest in cigarette butt companies. He'd buy the company for less than the assets on the balance sheet. It had factories, it had textiles, manufacturing, blah, blah, blah. It might be worth $100 million. He'd pay $80 million for it and then just tear it apart. And this is what they used to do 60 years ago, and just sell the assets and you'd make money for that. But now he's decided as a value investor that the best companies in the world, Apple, they will continue to grow. They will continue to eat,
mm,
but they are overvalued and he's trimmed his position. He's selling that stock and he's just sitting with $500 billion of cash. He has $500 billion of cash that he says there isn't a good investment for me at the moment.
mm,
Now, keep in mind, he did call Bitcoin rat poison squared,
yeah.
and it's a $2.5 trillion asset. And if
Mm.
he had bought it when he said that, he would be 5 times as rich. But
I bet he did buy some. He just
kudos,
didn't tell
kudos to
anyone
Warren.
about
Maybe he bought it
it.
personally, but he didn't buy it with the public money
Yeah.
because it has to be on his sheet, and he didn't buy it.
Mm,
So he's by not looking into that asset class, he's done a disservice to his shareholders.
mm,
And you have a fiduciary responsibility as a fund manager and as an investment manager to invest the people's money that invest in your company as best you can. How was that, Jack? Was that completely unhelpful? I'm sure it was. Um,
to give Jack and everyone listening something though, when do you think someone's actually ready to invest? Like, what sets someone up to make them capable of investing?
best time. What's the best time to plant a tree?
Last year.
Yeah, 20 years ago was
Yeah.
the best time to plant a tree. The second best time is today.
Yeah.
When you have, again, incentive to learn about something because your money is invested in it, you have an incentive to learn about it, to understand it. The first advice I give anyone is buy the thing. Whatever crazy, stupid idea it is, Start with a reasonable means. Don't put your entire savings, $10,000 into Fartcoin,
Mm,
please, please. But put some money into an investment and then use that as an investment in yourself to learn about the thing.
mm.
Because you never, it's tacit learning experience. We learn more from what we're doing, not from listening to us talk rubbish, but you learn from actually doing the thing.
Good rubbish though.
Yeah, it's quality rubbish.
Okay.
What do you think? You're probably in a better place to answer this. What has worked for you to get you to think more about money?
I think I've always thought about it because from the age of like 4 or 5, I was telling my mum that I was going to buy her a beach house.
Mm.
So there's always been that drive to earn an income, and
You're gonna
then
have to wait till you're 40. After 40 now.
yeah, maybe. Well, that's the caveat, right? I won't buy myself a house, but I'll buy someone else a house. And I think now that I'm 25, um, I'm getting towards probably going to be a dad in the next 4 years, which is pretty wild to say.
Wow.
Um, that definitely gives me like, and I've always wanted to be a dad. That's the thing, and I've always wanted to be able to provide for a family and to provide for the community too. Like that's something that's been really big for me. Like I want to put people first. Like the podcast I had, people helping people. Like the entire purpose behind that was I want to give to people, right? If I'm not financially in a place where I'm secure or I'm making intelligent financial decisions, that limits my ability to give.
Mm.
So my desire to begin becoming more financially literate started ages ago, but has become more prevalent in my life because I've realized that I've been doing things a certain way for a long enough time to realize that that way doesn't work. I've been living with debt for multiple years. I've
Mm.
never saved more than like 3 or 5 grand into my account, um, and money just seemed to come in and go. And if there was money in my account, I was going to spend it. And it wasn't even uh, um, like I say, it wasn't like a stupid thing, but it's not like I was consciously going like, oh, a minute, I've got $100, I'm going to bet it on like the pokies or something. Not that there's anything wrong
Yeah,
with
you
gambling.
you were being prudent.
Yeah. It's just that I would just find a way to spend money, and I was like, all right, I keep spending this money, and I keep looking at it as an investment. I keep trying to like find like different ways to invest in myself, whether that's like books or education or just trying shit or buying equipment, starting, stopping things like
Yeah, I
uh,
feel like you have a good understanding of that, of delayed gratification
yeah,
and investing in yourself.
definitely. Though I think, and this is the tricky part because I actually believe everyone needs to be broke at some point. Like everyone needs to have. When I say broke, I don't mean like broken from like a mental, emotional, or spiritual point of view, but
Mm.
like I think everyone needs to have $0 in their account at some point in their life,
Mm.
purely to be able to connect with other people and like see that they're there. But I think that journey out of it is quite wonderful. Like you yourself said, you went from buying a house and buying a car to impress a chick
Mm.
to now all of a sudden wanting to help other people not make the same mistakes that you made. Um, so a lot of like my drive towards understanding money comes from me not wanting to deal with unnecessary suffering. It feels, and live a life where I've given enough attention and made enough and developed enough understanding about money to not have to stress about money so much, because then I feel life opens up a little bit more. Because when there's clarity, when there's understanding, like you understand money, yeah. Does like money really actually stress you out? Like it seems like it excites you, but does it stress you?
It has stressed me out extravagantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even now,
Yeah.
yeah, it still stresses you.
Uh, I've certainly felt that the burden has been lifted off my shoulders.
Yeah.
Um, more recently, it's that whole thing of an overnight success with years in the making.
Yeah.
It's like a contentment that you understand that you put the time into learning a thing or investing in a thing, and it started to pay off. And it does. You feel the physical change in your
Mm.
mood, in your body. You mentioned it to me. Why are you happy at the moment, Ryan? You're normally a grumpy old prick.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I said.
And I was like, wow, actually, there's a tangible reason that I can describe why that has changed.
Yeah.
Um,
That
but
that that pain process that you went through though,
mm,
like that stressing to relief, I think everyone's got to go through that. And it's not just with money.
it's with everything. That's why people go to the gym.
Yeah.
That's why, and again, it's part of my character, so I understand it. I'm not afraid of the pain because I've done it my whole life.
Mm,
I've fed into the pain, and yeah, delay that gratification, embrace the discomfort, and sit with the uncomfortable feelings. Now that's a different thing entirely, sitting with the discomfort, but embracing that pain and wanting to hurt yourself every rep
mm,
because you know it's going to make you better, and you don't see those changes overnight, but then you blink and then you look back, or someone says, wow, your body has changed, you're
mm,
growing into a man. uh, and they'll see it before you see it because you're looking at yourself every single day.
yeah.
I think when you have a child, I'd be interested to see how your life changes,
It will.
and how you deal with problems that come apart in your work.
Mm,
If a participant, you know, their funds run out and you lose a client, you lose income. Now, as much as I know that you care deeply about the effect that you can have on people, you value the role that you can have in someone's life over the dollar amount that you are remunerated for.
mm,
That viewpoint will change when you are no longer the person at the center of care who cares about it, because now it's your partner and your young one.
mm.
Your attitude to it, I think, will change. And that's going to be an evolution, but we all go through these evolutions. And that's, again, an incentive. Your incentive is to support them. I'm not being a dad. I'm not being a man. I'm not supporting my family. What am I going to do?
Mm.
Your biological instincts kick in. I'm angry. I'm mad. I'm going to go change this. What am I going to do?
I love that point though. So like, have you ever like you've heard the saying of like when the pain of change is greater than the pain of staying the same, that's when change will happen.
Hmm.
It's like sometimes people need that moment where they're completely broken, their car's about to get repossessed, and blah 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 blah, for them to actually go, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, it's drug addiction.
Yeah,
For whatever the Leo movie is, Basketball Diaries.
right.
There's a vivid scene in that when he's going through the withdrawals, and you're like, yeah, that's you have to hit rock bottom before you can figure out how to climb out of it. Or what you people don't change because you want them to. They
Mm,
change because they realize they have to, or they commit to themselves finally
mm.
and start giving a shit about themselves.
And that point I reached recently, and I'm happy to share it. I had my first tax debt as a sole trader
Mm.
come up in May, so I was paying back for
Last financial
the
year.
last financial year.
Yeah.
That came up in May, wasn't prepared for it. So I used Afterpay to get myself through so that I could pay for it.
Yeah.
Ended up like 3 grand in debt there.
Yeah.
And then pausing my payments on my car so that I was able to do it.
Yeah.
And I had to play this whole
Yeah.
switch this, do this, move this. It's like I understand why people end up in so much credit card debt and they're trying to chase this, never ending debt cycle.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting. And I went, this is my responsibility. I created this so I can change it.
Yeah.
And that's a really cool spot to be in. Which again, like, you asked me just beforehand, why am I doing this? Because I know it's going to help me and I know other people are in the same boat.
Mm.
And it's like, if you want to change, you can. If someone's listening to this and they're in like debt right now and they're struggling, they're hurting over money, they don't have to stay there forever.
The reality is everyone's in debt.
Yeah.
If you're renting and you've got a savings, maybe you're not in debt, but everyone is in debt.
Mm,
If you have a house, you're in debt. I don't own the house. The bank owns the house. I pay them the privilege of having it now. I'm after paying the house.
yeah.
It's just I get a better rate.
Mm,
But if
mm,
I miss a payment, do you think they're going to help me out? They'll foreclose on me in a second.
yeah.
They don't want to because then they don't want the whole system coming down.
Mm,
And that's why, when a government has control over these things, we are just at the mercy of a government's decisions and how they want to operate within a system.
mm,
What you're describing there is a really thoughtful way of using yourself as a use case and putting it forward. And I'm happy to do it too. And I think that's why we connect on something like this, because you're happy to be completely open and honest and naked
Mm.
about your financial position. And I want to talk about money as well because the people who have money don't freaking talk about money
No.
and what it tangibly looks like. They use all these terms like I've used that just make it sound confusing. And that's because it is so deep and it is bloody confusing.
Mm.
Why? What is money? What the hell is it? Why during the Weimar Republic did they decide to only print on half the notes, on the front half and not the other half?
Interesting.
Because the money that it would save money, right? The 1,000 mark note was they stopped printing it because by the time the energy and effort and resources used to print the note cost more than the thing was worth
Wow.
because that's how much they printed.
Wow.
They didn't even have the word. They didn't have the word trillion during the Weimar Republic in 1922.
Mm.
The word trillion they had the billard
Mm.
was a trillion and a millard was a billion.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Not that interesting, but somewhat relevant.
Yeah.
Why does the dollar, why does our money need to state on it that this is redeemable by law?
Mm. Why does it?
Why is there a law enacted that says merchants have to accept this as money?
Which in our case is a piece of plastic.
Yeah. And
It's
America's it's dollars and it's paper slash plastic.
yeah.
But why is there a law and why can't I burn it? Is it my property or not? No, it's the government's property.
Right.
Why does the law need to tell me that this is forcibly redeemable
Mm.
for value? If money either has intrinsic value or it doesn't. Do you think money carries intrinsic value?
Can you define intrinsic value for me?
So, all right, this microphone, do you know how much that's worth?
$450.
Geez, makes us sound pompous.
Yeah.
It's just two of them. But I got that one secondhand, which is why it's busted on the end. What intrinsic value does this thing have? It's used.
Well, it's essentially you've said that it's worth this.
Mm.
Like someone has said this is worth X amount of dollars, and there doesn't really need to be too much reasoning behind it, eh?
So money is subjective. It's not objective. Subjective means that there's different opinions.
Yeah.
It can be changed. You can have a different idea about it. Objective means it is what it is. The objective opinion is it was purchased for $287.
Yeah.
And objectively, that's how much it cost. But
Mm.
what is the worth of it? Price is what you pay, value is what you get. What is the intrinsic value of this thing? Well, if you're a podcaster, you value it higher. That's why I bought the thing.
You put this in front of Joe Rogan and his net worth, his
Right.
network, and it's worth $100 billion
Right.
or $100 million.
And Joe Rogan's selling his microphone. How much is someone going to pay for it? 100 grand, $1 million. Who knows?
Yeah.
Someone obsessed with Joe Rogan. But
This is Joe Rogan's microphone.
you give that to, I don't know, a bloke on the street. How much will you pay for this? I'll give you $5, man.
Yeah.
Value is subjective. So money is supposed to be redeemable and exchangeable. If I go to the street and I go, here's a $5 note, how much will you pay me for it?
Oh, that is an interesting question, isn't it? I'd give you 100 5-cent pieces.
Right. I'll do the math on that.
All loose.
I will not take that. Because to me, that's a problem for me right now. But that says that no, you're not going to pay $10 for it.
Yeah.
You might exchange another good for it that probably has a value of less than $5.
Mm.
But what is the intrinsic value of the dollar? Well, the ridiculous thing is, money should have intrinsic value. It needn't have a law that says if it truly had value, there would not need to be a law that says you must accept this as legal tender because it has intrinsic value. Now, why do they make that law and why do they print that on the notes? It might be American notes. I'm not sure about the Australian note. It's been a minute since I've had Australian dollars because all our money is digital.
Yeah.
And something else that people don't know is that when your money is in the bank, it is not your property.
Yeah, you don't
It
own
is
it.
the property of the banks.
Yeah.
And it sounds conspiratorial again, but if the bank goes bust, that just happened with, for example, a superannuation fund went bust. They're supposed to protect our forced retirement savings,
Mm.
and they went bankrupt. And those people lost that money. The government may pay for it, but guess where that money comes from? The taxpayer.
Mm.
Society pays for that because they choose to socialize losses. It's called capitalism on the way up
Yep.
and socialism on the way down. When things are going well, when banks are taking risks, all their shareholders and their people, they make the money.
Mm.
When the global financial crisis happens and greedy banks capitalize and go bankrupt or have to get bought out, the taxpayer socializes the loss and we pay for it. We pay for it not with tax. I'm not paying for it, man. I don't pay tax. I'm on Centrelink payments. I don't pay
Mm.
any tax. You do pay for it because you pay through the hidden cost of inflation.
Mm. Gas, oil,
Gas goes up,
food.
food goes up,
Yep. All of
right?
it.
And that's, yeah.
Cars go up, houses go up.
CPI and inflation is going to be another episode.
Yeah.
But I think we might be done because that's gone over an hour now.
There you go, people. You're welcome.
Yeah.
I hope that was beneficial to you. It's beneficial to me.
Hey, well, that's all that matters.
Exactly.